I can share you the course content which you're looking. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a course content which I've prepared. Okay, and this covers your basis complete knowledge. Okay, so initially for the first 2 days we will try to understand what is an architecture of SAP, and what as a basis guys we do it, how the landscape look like, what is the history of SAP as well. Okay, coming to where from the ERP, from R to architecture to the current S4. Uh, so there is a suite. Okay, there is a suite called an S4, which is solution SAP for HANA. So there is a solution which is available in the market. So how that evolution has went in through. So we will go through that. Then the landscape and flow. So how does the landscape in your particular company looks like? It's not like one, two, three, or four system. There will be a bunch of 15 to 20 systems which are supporting your SAP landscape. Okay, how this evolution has taken place from the traditional ERP to S4 HANA, how the number of systems got reduced. So we will go through all those stuff. Then comes the transport management system. So uh, this current module, okay, so currently people tend don't do any kind of changes in the prod directly, so they do the changes in the development, then eventually move those changes to the production system, right? So after doing a thorough testing and everything, so how the change is moved from one system to another. So in SAP we call it as a transport. Okay, how the transport is captured, how the transport is triggered, how the total this flow is configured in a system. So we will go through all of them. Okay, uh, as a basis guy, so you need to know a bit of a security related things. Okay, but you will definitely uh, have security team in your different companies wherever you work, but from the basis perspective you need to have a basic knowledge of the user and management, because there will be cases when you are performing certain activities, right? So that time you might need to juggle between the users or change some parameters in the users and all those stuff. So for that, you need to have the basic understanding of how the user is configured, what type of users are available, what do you mean by what all the basic tasks, like what authorization needs to be provided or what kind of a roles a person should have it. So all these in a just need to be done. So we will cover that user authorization and security scenarios. Okay. Then comes the day-to-day activities. So we will start working on the day-to-day activities then. Okay, so as a basis guy, this will be your basis. So when you log in from the morning till the evening, whatever task you are performing, this is where it will come. So either it could be regular maintenance of starting and stopping of system, or the issues because of system getting abruptly shut down. So how do you bring that back? uh, what all so whenever I see that I have to perform a specific task at a specific time, right? Like I need to generate a report at the end of the day. So those are called as a jobs in SAP. So any specific task which you want to perform at a specific time, it is called as a job in SAP. Okay. How do I schedule those jobs so that it generates a report for me? So I don't have to sit at a basic example. So suppose at the end of the day at 5 p.m. So I want whatever the daily transaction has happened in my business, whatever business I'm doing, right? So I schedule a kind of a job. Okay, or manually how I need to calculate it. I There will be abappers who write the program and keep it. So you use that program and make sure that it is scheduled at 5. So exactly at 5 p.m. what will happen is it automatically run that program and give you the result what you wanted. Okay, that's the beauty of SAP. Like you can schedule the jobs, you can get the reports whatever you wanted. Another simple example I would say. So you receive your bank statement at the end of every month, right? So how do you receive it? So there will be jobs running. So based on that job, what it will trigger is, so for this account, this statement should be generated and sent to the customer. So all those statements will be triggered in one shot. So millions of millions of statements are getting generated and being sent to the employees at us at to the customers uh, for in a moment, right? So it just take hardly few seconds to generate and send it across. So instead of doing it manually, you can schedule such jobs. So these are the jobs. So how do we schedule the job? How do you manage those jobs? What are the issues you face during running your jobs? uh, how do you delete certain jobs? What all actions you perform when there is a requirement needs to be collected when you are setting up any job? So all those things we will discuss in the job part. And then S note. Okay, so we always see bugs in any software. Take any software, you see bugs. Okay, either you apply some kind of uh, patches to it, or you you apply some type of corrections, right, to fix that issue. Similarly, in SAP also there are bug fixes, there are patches, there are software components, there are upgrades which are running. So we will go through all of them. S note is basically a small correction or a solution for any issue which has occurred to the multiple people. Okay, so SAP kind of a maintains a kind of a knowledge base which records if multiple customers raise the same issue. Okay, then they will release a certain note by giving certain solution or a workaround to it. So you can go through that document and try to find some solution for it. So that's about it. That's about the SAP note. Then about the performance or monitoring, all those things. So there will be logs. Okay, one of the key thing for any business to run is maintaining the logs and audits, because audit will happen. There will be SOX. There will be different kinds of third party auditors will be looking at your system, whether they are very much aligned with whatever the audit policies which are placed. So for that you need to maintain certain logs in the system and all those stuff. So for that we need to, and also there will be a certain errors which are occurring, right? So for us also, for a basis guy, if there is any error occurring in the system, or if there is any issue or any success also, I need to go through the logs, whether to conclude it whether it's a right or wrong. So I go through certain these kind of logs, traces, all those things. Okay, spool is basically your print. So whatever prints you give it to this give out of your SAP system, that's called your spool. So for the print, you may see that it's a quite not what will be that significant thing that print is needed. But if you see in real time world, print is equivalently important for any of the product. So there will be millions of products, millions of invoices getting generated every now and then. The alignment of how your print look like, or what is getting printed out of your thing. So all those things are managed via this pull request. So simple example is, you go to supermarket, you buy it, and at the end you will get a receipt generated. So that receipt is nothing but it is a spool request which is generated out of what you have purchased, right? Then comes the utmost important thing for a basis guy, which is a monitoring. Okay, right from the beginning of your career till the time you are working in basis, you need to know the monitoring stuff. Okay, because system can act mad at times. So that time you need to look into the aspects of monitoring. You need to go back to the basic T codes, a very very basic T codes, which you need to look through it and try to analyze the logs. Okay, the level of analyzing also differs time to time, because as and when you become more and more experienced, you know what to check, what not to check. Okay, what you can conclude by saying yes, this is an error, this is not an error. So the monitoring is one of the key aspect. Okay, which is needed right from the freshers. So it is mandatory to have it, because this is one of the work which will be assigned to you immediately when you join to any of the project. Okay, then comes the different type of memory management. So there are a lot of types of memories, like if I say heap, global allocation, and all those memory type which are present in SAP. So we will look through that part as well. And that's about the main. So again, coming back to the different kinds of performance. Okay, what all we are looking into the performance stuff. So there are multiple ways of looking at the system performance. One of the key aspect, as I said, so we go through that. Then comes the module which is needed kind of an implementation project, I would say, for any of this thing, like about patch upgrade. So in general, we call it as an upgrades, right? So from one version to another version of SAP, how do we move it? Or if I want to install it, how do I install it? Or if I want to update a small part of my SAP solution, how do I update that as well? Okay. And how do I refresh a system? Okay. Refresh meaning nothing but you you override the data of one system to another system, a simple or a system copy. Suppose you buy a new phone, but if you copy the data from the previous phone to new phone, okay, so your new phone pretty much acts like your old phone data itself. I'm talking only about the sense of the data. So that pretty much have the same data of what you have it from your older phone, right? So that is called as a copy of what you're doing. Similarly in SAP also, there will be a refresh, there will be a copy of a system, all those things. So we will go through these topics. These will be purely on a theoretical based, because we cannot go through the upgrade as a topic uh, by doing a real-time practice here. So that's why the module 8 is purely a theoretical one. Okay. uh, Coming to the kernel part. So how my hardware, okay, what is hardware meaning my laptop or my chipset, how it interacts with my SAP. Okay, SAP is an application, okay, it's a software. So how do these two work hand in hand? How my system will understand that this SAP is there? So kernel is a kind of a hand which acts as a connecting path between your hardware and software. So how do we maintain that hardware, that particular kernel? How do we update it? How do we look through it, or any issues which are coming? So all those things we will read through it. Then comes the certificate management. Okay, so you might have seen different kinds of certificates, right, in your system, or whenever you're trying to log into any of your company system, you might have seen, or in the browser also you have seen that certificate is there, or when you're trying to reach any portal, you see certain certificates are needed. So basically to connect between the two systems. So those things will be covered in this thing. Then comes the HANA part. Okay, SAP HANA is your database. So we will go through the database. We will look for the database, how we are using HANA database, what all applications which we need it, how do we, what all the different administration tools available for HANA to access it, what kind of an administration we are performing as well, that is needed. Okay. HADR is basically a higher available and disaster recovery. So basically it is like if one system goes down, another will be up all the time. So if you have seen certain portals like the bank portal, it never goes down. Okay, if it is going, glitch also happened, it is like a minute seconds, and then you will see that it is accessible. So 24/7 availability is needed for everyone. So that is a part of HANDR that we will cover it. And coming to the operating systems. Okay, so uh, operating system mainly we will look into is Linux. I'll also provide a playground URL where you can practice your commands which are needed. As I said, there were very handful number of commands which is needed, but yeah, it you have an subjected to, you have an access in your project where you are working. As I said, companies don't give HANA database as well as OS access in few company. There will be different team sitting as a DB or as an OS guys. Okay, so sometimes you may get it, sometimes you may not get it. Okay, then comes the client administration. So one of the other topic where we will a day-to-day activity, I would say, wherein you need to make and break the clients for in the SAP systems where you are actually working it. So we will go through that part. And the last topic which we will look into is the hyperscaler. Okay, so as we all know, like currently it's all about the cloud. So you hear a lot about the cloud part, the AWS, GCP, Azure, all those stuff. Okay, how SAP is leveraging these hyperscalers, or how the companies are actually using these cloud solutions in SAP. Okay, so we will go through them as a what is a strategy of why people go at hyperscaler, what is a benefit which are getting out of it, or what all the services which are using in the hyperscaler. Not there are thousands of services are provided by AWS. Okay, if I say we will mainly target AWS in this, and also I will tell you uh, a bit of how the logically it is connected. It's all same. Okay, when I say Azure, GCP and AWS, the logic below that is always same, the naming convention differs. So we will go through one and then you will understand all three. Okay, so when I talk about a generic AWS, if I'm talking about it, so you will see a lot of services available, but for SAP we are using very minimum. Okay, so you don't have to be afraid that I don't know anything about AWS. I don't know. You need to know a very minimum things for what SAP is designed to be running on AWS. Okay, so we will cover through that as well. So just it's see this part. It's up to you. Okay, if you want to have a knowledge, uh, spend some time, go through the documents or go through the AWS portal or Azure portal, GCP, it will be good. But if you're not understanding certain thing, don't be so much of uh, panic mode that I'm not understanding anything in such. But it's a good to know because people ask this, and this will give you an added advantage when you go and speak out in market. Okay, so that's about the overall course content which is covered as part of basis. Okay, if you feel anything uh, missing or you want to know more about it, yeah, feel free to uh, ask.
So, as you might be familiar with this digital transformation going on in now in many companies, people
Mm-hmm.
are migrating to cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and these applications they seem to be SAP basis administrators seem to administer an on-premise infrastructure. Is it correct? Or they are also migrating to these applications to cloud, like as you just mentioned that in the at the they will be we will be touch basing with the way SAP is managed on AWS Azure. So
See,
real time will there be only on premise, and or we are now migrating to cloud. Every company is migrating to cloud now.
mhm. See, there is a shift. Okay, there is always a shift. There was a lot of hype about earlier everything was on prem. Okay, then a phase came in like a cloud. Okay, but when the switch happened from on-prem to cloud, it doesn't mean that SAP is on the cloud. Okay, the on-prem system on the cloud solution. Okay, so the on-prem part of my application is S4. Okay, it supports on the on-prem server. The same solution supports on the cloud server as well. There is a third product called as an S4 cloud, which is an SAP solution on the cloud. Okay, that particular entire software is designed to work like a cloud. Okay, it's a subscription based model. Okay, but when I talk about S4 suite, that is on the on premise, so it basis guys has to perform all the tasks there. Okay, even though there is an S4 cloud coming, or it's there as well in the market, but for that to maintain certain aspects of that particular system, you basis guys in the backend do the work as is. Okay, there is no change in that. Okay, cloud transformation is for the functional, is for the company, and it is for the global market. But the technical guys, like, see, there are three different technical team and rest all are function. Basis, security, and ABAPer, who are the typical developers. So these three are the technical teams which they call. Rest all are functional, like DD, FICO, FICA, if I say, or any other OTC, RTR. All these are functional teams. Okay, irrespective of which type of SAP application you are working, technical teams roles and responsibility remains the same. Okay, rest all it changes. For the functional, it differs from solution to solution. Okay, I hope that cleared your doubt.
Based on what I have learned is that we are SAP